Hey, yo, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Ashton Jackson, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys training camp that they had today in Oxnard. I'm going to be talking about also Saturday's game against the Los Angeles Chargers, just in brief, talking about how it's a big game for a lot of guys that are on the roster bubble, guys like Jalen Marino Cropper, Deuce Vaughn, Royce Freeman, why Trey Lance needs to have a decent game, and then also what could what players could possibly be cut if they don't have a good game on Saturday, things of that nature. So before we hop into the video, I appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content, man.
Yeah, they say shit about this and about that. They got shit to say about everything, but let's get to the fact. I see them trying to cut out all the real shit.
So again, talk about training camp today. One thing I would like to touch on is Trevon. He's looking very good today in practice, and I'm glad that he's able to go out and show that, because that's really just a great confidence builder for himself, knowing that we're going to have a game in about 3 weeks against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, September 9th. So I'm very excited for that matchup, of course. Then again, Trevon going out making plays. He needs to start seeing the ball. And, he's picking the ball off. And once Trevon I feel like is one of those hoopers that we talk about, and one of those shooters that we talk about, that once those shooters that have those nights where, they can't miss from three, or they hit like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 threes in a row, where all they need to do is see the ball go in the hoop. And I feel like that's what Trevon is. He's one of those players that once he gets a hand on the football, he pass break up. He really does a really great job in coverage, or he picks the ball up a couple of times. I feel like he's going to get back to himself. And this is definitely one of the few athletes where I feel like that with him coming back, you're not really going to see the ACL injury really affecting him. I feel like him is not going to be too much of a factor at all. You might see it a little bit with Overshown, but I think once Overshown gets into the flow of things, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem with him. Deuce Vaughn had a nice run today. Kevontae Turpin getting open and getting involved. Same with Jalen Brooks. Cooper Rush got some work today. Dak, of course, with CeeDee Lamb going out, guys like Ryan Flournoy, who had a really good preseason against the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's another guy that I'm going to be talking about, why he needs to have a good practice on Saturday, especially if he wants to make the game day 46. Jalen Tolbert doing his thing. Mike Smith was getting pass rush work today versus the interior offensive line. I saw him win a rep right now against 65 on the second team. Tyler Smith doing his thing. Still looking really great against powerful dudes, and having Miles Smith in the stalemate. Tyler Guyton is still looking great as well. So is Cooper Beebee. I'm very proud of those guys. Cooper Beebee and Tyler Guyton are definitely two guys that I'm not wanting to dress on Saturday, because I feel like both of those guys have secured their spots as first team starting left tackle with Tyler Guyton, and then starting center is Cooper Beebee. And then also, who was pass rushing in the rep that you did see from Tyler Guyton is Marshawn Nealon. That's another person that I wanted to saran wrap and bubble wrap and have them carry into the season, have them practice, have them prepare for the season. But those are guys that I am putting in a bubble wrap until the season starts. But then I see a guy like Maurice Luafau, and knowing that he's going to be the fourth linebacker on our depth chart. You sure want to make sure that you have him sharp and mentally ready, again, because he's going to be seeing some special team snaps. And then also with him being your fourth linebacker for right now, because I definitely can see him work that way up, especially at best, where I can see him being your third best linebacker, which I think he is right now. And I think he can eventually move into the three of that, the current three being Kendricks, Overshown, Damone. I think Maris can step into that role where Damone Clark is playing, which is the Sam side. But then also, I really felt like that if Eric Kendricks misses a game or misses a couple of quarters or whatever the case might be, I felt like Maris can do a really great job at playing Mike linebacker for you. And again, he needs to show that again versus the LA Chargers, and I think he's going to get some really good reps. I don't know what the Chargers are necessarily going to do. I know that they get injured a lot, so I don't think a guy like Jim Harbaugh is going to necessarily have guys like Justin Herbert or any of his starters play. But if he does, I would like to see what our second, third unit, mainly, or probably will look like will be our third unit versus the Chargers stars. If the Chargers start their starters, which I don't think it will happen, but who knows, right? Jalen Tolbert to Dak is still looking really great. Dak is dotting up in practice. Peyton Hendershot did his thing today in practice. Another thing, talking about the running backs right now, right? Understanding that we are playing a little bit of politics, not a little bit, but that we are playing politics with Zeke Elliott, and understanding that what he did for us the years that he was with the Dallas Cowboys is very respectable and commendable. And yes, we could have used his services last year, but I feel like that does not make an excuse as to why he is not getting any sort of reps or any sort of snaps in the preseason. Like even Rico, which I feel like is the best back in this running back room, had preseason snaps. I feel like Zeke should have got some snaps in the past 2 weeks to see what he possibly could have looked like. But again, I think right now on Saturday, your third running back role is going to be in flux. Not really in flux, but it's going to be in a position battle come throughout the rest of this week, and then leading into Saturday versus the Los Angeles Chargers. So I want to see who gets that first rep, that first team rep with Cooper Rush, or if Cooper Rush even plays, that first quarterback that goes out there, that first offensive drive, who was on the field, what does your running backs look like? What does Deuce look like with possibly a lot more snaps than what he had last week versus the Raiders? Same goes for Royce. Same goes for Nathaniel Pete. Guys like Nathaniel Pete, Snoop Conner, they're fighting for their right to be either auditioning for another team, or with Nathaniel Pete's case, it's going to be auditioning to stay on the practice squad and see what he can do if an injury happens, or if next year they decide to, or if this year, at the end of this year, they decide to IR him where he can just rehab, learn the playbook, everything of that nature. I feel like really we'll try to keep him healthy because we feel like injuries can happen to a guy like Rico Dowdle, Zeke Elliott, where on game day you might have to promote either Snoop Conner or more than likely a Nathaniel Pete if an injury were to happen or looming right around game day, and we need a guy like Nathaniel Pete to step in, because Nathaniel Pete can do special teams and he can do starting reps as running back as well. Also, a guy like Jalen Marino Cropper. Ever since we've been hearing his name in training camp, it's been mainly with Dak Prescott. He's been working with the ones. What's going to separate Jalen Cropper again, and for him to solidify his spot on the game day 46 active roster, is with what he does in his opportunities in special teams with the new dynamic kickoff return. He can't have another fumble punt return like how he had versus the Raiders last week. That cannot happen this game. When he is open, he has to make his catches. He has to get open for guys like Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, things of that nature, right? Really, he's going to get a lot of his reps and a lot of his targets with a guy like Trey Lance. So if Jalen Marino Cropper wants to make this roster or even play with this team, he's going to have to make things work with and make things shake with guys like Cooper Rush and Trey Lance. Unfortunately, Dak Prescott isn't going to play. So with him not playing, he's going to look good in camp versus, with Dak Prescott versus the ones. But this front office and this organization wants to know what can Marino Cropper look like with the second and third team units, with those second and third team quarterbacks. So that's something that he has to figure out. I think Ryan Flournoy, since he is a draft pick and he had a really good game week 2, he's putting together himself a case to make the starting roster. And I think with him making the starting roster, I think we need another wide receiver like that that's in this building, a big body wide receiver that can work down the red zone like how he did versus the Raiders. I think he can make some things happen. I think he is a special wide receiver. In my opinion, I think that, him using his bigger body at 6'1", upwards of like 230 pounds, he's a strictly muscle type of wide receiver. He can catch those in routes, those in breaking routes, those slants and things of that nature. He can work a little bit on the outside as well. Again, I don't think he's too much of a route runner, but I think if you scheme him open and you give him the ball in space, I think he can utilize his athleticism and his big playability to get open and make some plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Again, this is another guy that needs to have a crucial Saturday as well. Again, you're going to look good with Dak Prescott. That's within a given. You're going to look decent with Cooper Rush, but what do you look like with Cooper Rush and live bullets in the preseason, and then also with a young developing quarterback like Trey Lance? Leading into Trey Lance, what can Trey Lance possibly look like on Saturday? Again, this is his last preseason showing, because more than likely Dak Prescott is going to be healthy for the remainder of the 2024-25 season for the most part. And is Trey Lance, the discussion moving forward, forget about him even starting because that's a far-fetched possibility. But what he does on Saturday and what he does the next few days in camp, remaining of camp in Oxnard, is, are you good enough to win the quarterback 2 spot? Because if you can win the quarterback 2 spot, I think you'll be really happy if you're a guy, if you're a Trey Lance supporter, if you're Trey Lance himself, if you're this coaching staff yourself. You've been practically preparing him since all of last year, coaching him, developing him since the summer of last year, really, to get him up to speed. So if he's the quarterback 2 going into September, I think you're happy if you're the Jones. You're happy if you're the coaching staff, just for you knowing that you were able to have a young guy that was already caught up to speed and that already was a better player than Cooper Rush, which I feel like Trey Lance is a better quarterback than Cooper Rush anyway, better with his legs. He's way more of an athletic quarterback than Cooper Rush. Trey Lance can definitely hurt you with his legs, and you saw that towards the end of the first half when he set up Brandon Aubrey to kick that 66-yard field goal in that game versus the Las Vegas Raiders. And you see it a lot of times when he does a whole lot of one-read situations. He looks to take off. He does a really great job at extending plays and getting out of the pocket and running and making sure he's staying himself safe. So really, if you're Trey Lance, you want to make sure that you go out and you make do of your opportunities on Saturday and possibly see what you can do moving forward and things of that nature. And what happens if, not what happens if, but what happens when we do blow out some opponents. You want to see what Trey Lance can do with some garbage time minutes and things of that nature. And that's pretty much it for the video. Again, we had a really good training camp today. Trey Lance made some plays. Trevon Diggs is officially back. Dak Prescott's carving it up. Jalen Marino-Cropper caught a touchdown. Peyton Hendershot is making do of his opportunities. So is Kavontae Turpin. Deuce Vaughn really needs to have a good game on Saturday. I feel like he's one of the only backs that doesn't have a redundancy to him to this room, because I feel like what's redundant in the running back room is just thumping guys that can help us get 3rd and 1, 3rd and inches, 4th and inches, goal line situations. I think that's really good, and I think Zeke does a really great job at fighting the end zone. But we need to find that consistent back that can work in between the 20s, that can potentially break off a long run like what I believe Deuce Vaughn can do. Possibly if we make a trade for a guy like Khalil Herbert for the Bears, or Dameon Pierce looks to be a guy that gets cut from the Houston Texans. But then again, that's another thumping type of running back. And we also got to figure out what does the Dallas Cowboys go long or short at in terms of on the depth chart. How many running backs are they going to carry? Are they going to carry 4 and having and listing Hunter Lipke as a fullback? Or are they going to move him to the tight end spot and just quote-unquote carry 4 tight ends, but then eventually you'll just bring in 4 running backs, and those 4 running backs might be Rico, Zeke, Deuce, Royce. Could those be your natural 4 running backs? And then we just move Hunter Lipke into that tight end spot. I feel like we're going to go along that linebacker. That's why I want Marist and Willie Harvey to work together this Saturday versus the Chargers. What does your secondary look like? What does your defensive line look like? Things of that nature. So that's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed. Bye.